Good evening and welcome to the first broadcast of Cutter Television. I'm Super Zena, and in the next weeks we'll be featuring stories about the events and people in the Fairlawn High School. And today we are proud to have as our guest John Gerisi, the music choral director of Fairlawn High School and the director of Fairlawn High School's production of The Little Shop of Horrors, and the two stars of the show, Jeff Gottlieb as Seymour and Laura Curry as Audrey. Hello and welcome to the show. Thank you for coming.
Thank you
very much. Mr. Gerisi, why did you choose to do the musical Little Shop of Horrors?
Well, I selected Little Shop because it was a youth-oriented project. Little Shop of Horrors is a contemporary show. It was off-Broadway not too many years ago, and I felt that Little Shop would be a piece that the students of Fairlawn High School would respond to in a very positive fashion, and they have.
And Jeff and Laura, why did you choose to be in Little Shop of Horrors?
I've been very involved in acting for all 4 of my years at Fairlawn. I'm a senior. It's my 4th year. This is my 9th show, and I mean, as soon as Mr. Gerisi announced Little Shop, I was very excited. I was looking forward to doing it ever since he announced it.
Well, I've always loved the show, and I was really excited when we found out that it was Little Shop. And I really like the music from it, so I don't know.
How long have you guys been rehearsing for?
Well, we started auditions in mid-December, but the rehearsal schedule started early January, so I would say about 2.5 months.
About that.
Is there rehearsals every day, or?
It's for us.
Tell us a little bit about the play, like background on the play, the plot of the story.
Well, in its most simplistic form, it's really a love story between Seymour and Audrey in the midst of all this craziness that goes on, and it's set in a flower shop. And I guess you could call it a period piece, although it's not marked accordingly in the script. It's implied that it takes place in the early 60s, the style of the music and the style of the costumes and so forth. And what happens is this plant appears, this little baby plant that Seymour discovers, and it starts to grow. And because of this plant, this very poor flower shop starts to thrive, and Seymour gets caught up in all this. And Seymour's character is really a small character as far as self-esteem, and because of this plant, he becomes very popular, and that's when the relationship develops between Audrey and Seymour. But we find out later that that love is a true love, and it has all kinds of interesting qualities to it.
So there's something for everybody, so everybody should go see it on the 13th, 14th, and 15th of March. And I heard that you had to expand the stage to fit the set. Do you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, when I originally saw Little Shop off-Broadway, it was in a small theater. Most off-Broadway shows are in a small theater. And of course, Fairlawn High School, as most high school auditoriums, are very large. So I had to restage the play to make it fit in a large setting. And as a result, I really expanded the set and built some very large structures engulfing the flower shop to make the Little Shop of Horrors actually seem little. It's surrounded by some very large set pieces, which I will not give you too much information on because we want you to come and see it. But it's a very interesting environment. We create a town on stage. We expand the stage out closer to the audience, and we put the orchestra behind the set. So we're really creating this atmosphere even before the play begins.
I know when I've seen the movie, the plan has been it's been huge. And how do you plan on doing the plan? Or?
Well, it's real, isn't the plant real? I mean, we don't want to. The plant, of course, is a big attraction to the play, and part of the appeal is, people are wondering, how are you going to do the plant? I will tell you that there are 4 plants. The baby plant, I think, is visiting with us today. You'll get to see it later on. Is about this big, and then it grows during the course of the show, and the final plant is about the size of a minivan. So it's an interesting puppet, and it's manipulated by 2 different students.
Also, you mentioned the movie. The movie also is one of the things that attracted me to Little Shop when I first found out about it. But when I read the play, there's a lot of different things that'll surprise people who saw the movie, because there's some big differences, and I think some of the characterizations were good in the movie. Steve Martin, Rick Moranis are excellent. But I think the plot is a little different in the play, and I think makes it for better watching.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, I add something to that. The play, once again, has some elements that the movie doesn't bring across. And many times when there's a movie version of a Broadway play, it's never as good as the stage version. So if you'd like the movie version, you'll love the play version. If you didn't like the movie version, I still think you would. You're still going to love the play.
No matter what, you're going to love the play version. So.
Everybody go see it. Is there anything that you found during the course of rehearsals particularly challenging? Any of you? Anything that was?
I think every time you take on a new show, it's a challenge in itself. I think also considering this is Mr. Dreese's first year at Fairlawn, so he had to kind of like get to know us all over again. And, get us to know the kind of director he was, because some of our directors in the past, at least musical wise, weren't always so professional. And Mr. Dreese felt he should say right away, this is going to be professional. And we've had some fun times, and the camaraderie has been great. I mean, we call him G. We call him Mr. Dreese here. For the screen, it's Mr. Dreese, but when we got here, it's G. We got to back to rehearsal, right?
So you have very good.
It's very professional. Meanwhile, we have a really good time. Yeah.
That's always important. And about how many people are involved with the play?
Well, there are 34 performers, but there are over 100 students involved in some way, shape, or form with the production, either scenery painting or in the graphic arts department, sets, costumes. So it's a large number of students involved.
Also, a lot of teachers whose help we'd be way behind without, like Mr. O'Neill, he's done a lot of good work for us, and Mr. Block also.
Yes.
To name just a few.
And I know in the movie there was three girls, and I heard that there was 9 in this.
Yeah, well, with many high school productions, sometimes you have to reinterpret certain parts to accommodate your talent. And I felt that we had some good talent. I wanted to utilize that talent, so I expanded the Greek chorus of 3 girls. We call them the doo-wop girls. We have 9 now, and they all do a wonderful job. And the choreography, I have to say, is also excellent. Candace Carity is a wonderful choreographer, and she's doing a fine job with the kids as well.
I know, Mr. Dreese, this was your first year directing. Was it everything you expected? Was it like?
Yeah, it's my first year directing at Fairlawn High School.
At Fairlawn High School, that's what I meant.
Is it what I expected? Yes, I've worked with teenagers for a number of years, and I have a good sense of what they respond to, what they look for in a teacher and in a director. And so I really don't have any difficulty. And of course, the kids at Fairlawn High School, I have to add are some of the best kids I've ever worked with.
Jeff and Laura, do you want to tell us a little bit about your parts in the play? Sure. Whichever.
Well, I play Audrey, and she's the tall, wears the tight clothes and blonde hair. She's a ditz, and she's had a lot of boyfriends in the past. And this particular boyfriend that she's with now treats her really badly.
And that's a dentist, right?
Yeah, that's a dentist. And he hits her, and Seymour sees that, and he gets all upset. But she dreams of being with Seymour through the whole play, and she just doesn't think that she's good enough for him. She thinks that she deserves worse. She deserves crap. So, I don't know. But she has a tender heart too. So.
I think Seymour, as Mr. Dreese mentioned, has low self-esteem and is, I guess for all intents and purposes, the stereotypical nerd. It's that me a nerd, right? But no, I think he's really some of the most charming qualities are his naivete and his innocence, and that's good for him. But also it makes him it's what appeals him to Audrey. But also it makes it so other people who are stronger personalities, like Oren the dentist, who's played by Jason Leschwitz, and Mrs. Mushnick, who's played by Jodie Tarlo, they take advantage of him and they talk down to him and stuff, and they abuse him in a lot of ways.
Is there any in your part? Is there any part of yourself that you think are you and any
nerd?
part of your
No, me no. No.
Besides being a nerd, I'm kidding.
No, actually, I think I guess in every part of life, I think between every two people, there's similar qualities, and the same goes for characters. In every role you portray as an actor, I think every time, a lot of times you'll find yourself, certain people who attempt to intimidate you, certain people who are above you, like your boss is in this case, and I think you have to keep that in mind. Yes.
Laura?
Certainly.
Well, the character of Audrey she's sincere. She's very affectionate, and I think my personality is very much like that. But A little bit of their head too, maybe. Sometimes.
I know before you said that it's not Mr. Mushnick, it's Mrs. Mushnick. Do you think it works out better? Or?
Well, it brought out some interesting qualities in the play. There are a couple of scenes that I feel work better with Mrs. Mushnick as opposed to Mr. Mushnick. There's a number called Mushnick and Son, and it works out great with it being Mrs. Mushnick. So.
I think Jordy makes it, because anyone who knows Jordy knows she has a kind of attitude to her, which is really which is perfect for the part. I mean, like I think it's probably as soon as the audition started, Mr. Drusi said, must have been thinking right away, this is great, because Jordy, she interprets that part, in her own, very much her own way. It's very good, I think.
Are you looking forward to the end of the show, or are you just going for the show? Or will you be happy when it's over?
We're just really excited now about it.
Yeah, I mean, when it's over, every time something you really enjoy and put so much work into is over, I mean, of course you're upset, but I mean, that's far away. That's like forever away, because we have a week and a half to the show. And, every day seems forever. We have rehearsal now, where
Are you going to be rehearsing like up until the show?
day of.
Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah. We have a very, very strict rehearsal schedule during the next week and a half, and there are a lot of technical elements that we need to work out. We're going with a very elaborate sound and lighting design, and as I mentioned earlier, the band is backstage, so that's going to propose some interesting technical difficulties. So we have a lot to do.
With the band backstage, do you think is it better than having them up front? Do you feel, or?
Speaking from experience, I think it's definitely better, because last year, in the few last years past, the shows I've been in, the band, the way it was set up, there's the stage and then the band and then the audience. So a lot of times you wouldn't even, all the work would go into vocals and you wouldn't even hear them because the band sound would come forward. I think, we have very, very, good technology using it, so the band's can measure it better. I think it's much better as a member of the audience and as a member of the cast that the band is where it is now.
And so, do you like being closer to the audience in that way, or do you think it's better that you can work like sort of with the audience?
I think it's great. I mean, again, you said the stage is extended out. It's a little different than it was usually, and also the way Mr. Rusi directed it. We walk out, a lot of times almost practically into the audience. And I think that
the audience, they'll probably feel more in touch with the characters too.
That's a style of directing that I adopted, many, many years ago. I like to bring the performers as close to the audience as possible. I feel it brings the audience into the storyline, and also creates a sort of excitement.
Okay, thank you. I don't mean to cut you off, but thank you for joining us. And when we come back, we'll be having Jeff and Laura sing "Grow for Me," "Somewhere That's Green," and "Suddenly Seymour." Thank you. Hi, and welcome back. And now Jeff Gottlieb will sing "Grow for Me." Jeff, why don't you set it up before you sing?
Okay, sure. This scene takes place, it's one of the first numbers in the show, and it's where Seymour and the bond he has with his plant start to develop. And it's where he shows his affection, because he's concerned because the plant's not growing as well as he hoped it to be. And he kind of, it's his last effort to get it to grow, and he does everything he can in song. I've given you sunshine, I've given you dirt. You've given me nothing but heartache and hurt. I'm begging you sweetly, I'm down on my knees. Oh, please grow for me. I've given you plant food and water to sip. I've given you potash, you've given me zip. Oh God, how I missed you. Oh pot, how you tease. Oh please grow for me. I've given you southern exposure to get you to thrive. I've pitched you back hard like I'm supposed to. You're barely alive. I've tried you at levels of moisture, from desert to mud. I've given you grow lights and mineral supplements. What do you want from me, blood? I've given you sunlight. I've given you rain. Looks like you're not happy, lest I open a vein. I'll give you a few drops, if that'll appease. Now please, oh please, grow for me.
Hi, and now we'll have Laura Curry singing Somewhere That's Green. Laura, why don't you set it up too? Thanks.
Somewhere That's Green takes place on the street, right outside of the florist, and she's by the fire escape with a few of the girls. So she's telling them about the dreams that she has for her life. I know Seymour's the greatest, but I'm dating a semi-sadist. So I've got a black eye and my arms in a cast. Still, that Seymour's a cutie. Well, if not, he's got inner beauty. And I dream of a place where we could be together at last. But it's just a daydream of mine, a little development I dream of, just off the interstate. Not fancy like Levittown, just a little street in a little suburb, far, far from urban Skid Row. The sweetest, greenest place where everyone has the same little lawn out front and the same little flagstone patio out back. And all the houses are so neat and pretty, because they all look just alike. Oh, I dream about it all the time. Just me and the toaster and a sweet little guy like Seymour. A matchbox of our own, a fence of real chain link, a grill out on the patio, disposal in the sink, a washer and a dryer, and an ironing machine in a tract house that we share, somewhere that's green. He rakes and trims the grass. He loves to mow and weed. I cook like Betty Crocker, and I look like Donna Reed. There's plastic on our furniture to keep it neat and clean. In the pine-so-scented air, somewhere that's green. Between our frozen dinner and our bedtime, 9:15, we snuggle watching Lucy on a big, enormous 12-inch screen. I'm his December bride. He's father, he knows best. Our kids watch Howdy Doody as the sun sets in the west. A a picture out of Better Homes and Gardens magazine. Far from Skid Row, I dream we'll go somewhere that's green.
Thanks for joining us today, and make sure, all of you, to come out and see the mini-sized Van Plant and Jeff and Laura in Little Shop of Horrors on March 13th, 14th, and 15th in the Fairlawn High School Auditorium. And keep a lookout for future Cutter TV productions. I'm sure there's going to be many of them. Thank you, and now Jeff and Laura will sing Suddenly Seymour. Thank you. And thanks for coming to all my guests.
Lift up your head, wash off your mascara. Here, take my Kleenex, wipe that lipstick away. Show me your face, clean as the morning. I know things were bad, but now they're okay. Suddenly, Seymour is standing beside you. You don't need no makeup, don't have to pretend. Suddenly, Seymour is here to provide you sweet understanding. Seymour's your friend.
Nobody ever treated me kindly. Daddy left early, Mama was poor. I'd meet a man and I'd follow him blindly. He'd snap his fingers, me, I'd say sure. Suddenly, Seymour is standing beside me. He don't give me orders, he don't condescend. Suddenly, Seymour is here to provide me sweet understanding. Seymour's my friend.
Tell me this feeling lasts till forever. Tell me the bad times are clean washed away.
Please understand that it's still strange and frightening. For losers like I've been, it's so hard to say. Suddenly, Seymour,
Suddenly, Seymour,
he purified me.
he purified you.
Suddenly, Seymour, show me I can.
Yes, you can.
Learn how to be more the girl that's inside me.
Sweet understanding.
With sweet understanding.
Understanding.
Sweet
Understanding.
Seymour's my